welcome. I'm Amy Lewis, the owner of the Mooeys Group. Here I am with another question. We have got loads. We've got so many. This is so exciting. So if you are in the beauty or aesthetics or even hair space, then hopefully we can help you out with some of the most common questions you get asked, and you haven't got to sift through the internet to find an answer that's been written in a blog or something. You can just let us help you, ideally. So I've got another one, which is, what should I put in an employee handbook, and do I even need one? Yes, you do. Every business, I believe, should have a employee handbook. Now, an employee handbook should have basically your culture, how you want your business to operate, how you want your staff and your team to behave and to act. What does that look like for you? What are your standards? What are your expectations? Also, really importantly, what are your gross misconduct? So we have a whole list of factors that are classed as gross misconduct, because if you are disciplining a staff member, ideally, if you are referring back to gross misconduct, it's quite a wide terminology, so you really should specify what categories or what falls into gross misconduct category. So for us, I have theft, which is probably my top one. So that could be theft of product, that could be theft of that could be theft of clients, that could be theft of team, that could be theft of free treatments. Like, that's a really big one for me, because I don't work in my salon, so trust is super important. But also breach of trust is part of gross misconduct as well. Promoting your business. Obviously, if anybody in our industry works for themselves, promoting their business to our clients is classed as gross misconduct. So list everything that you think is a sackable offence in your company handbook. You should have a gross misconduct policy, but if you have a handbook, then you can just put all of that in there. It can't be the tiniest things that you would probably, consider requires a warning or something like that, like being late. That can't be gross misconduct. So it's got to be things that you believe people deserve to be fired for or terminated for. Terminate is a really horrible word, isn't it? But yeah, if you have a really clear process as well, a disciplinary process with a very clear gross misconduct policy, everybody knows where they stand, and then you have to act on that. So if you do have theft, no matter how menial it is, or people believe that it's menial, it doesn't mean anything, like a free treatment here and there, you can refer back to your gross misconduct policy. Any staff policies you have should be in your company handbook. How your disciplinary procedure is. Expectations for what time they your team turn up to work. What time do they leave? When are they paid for? When's the pay run? Everything. How you want them to look. So uniform expectations. Because this is part of your culture, right? By setting the standards in a company handbook, we send ours out along with contracts, and actually ours have to be signed along with a covenant agreement, which basically means they can't poach clients and they can't work within a certain radius. I say they, my team. And I think it's just like transparency in expectations is so important, because then there's no shocks. And I think it's better for your team to understand exactly where they stand, and also treat everybody the same. I know it's difficult in our space, in our industry, because we find that we get on with certain people more than others. And managers especially will tend to recruit like for like. There is a word for it, and I learned this word for it the other day, called homeology, I think it's called. I won't find it now, but it's basically when human beings, it's really natural for human beings to surround themselves with people like themselves. But what that can cause is a lot of damage to a team, because you then become like them and us, or the it crowd and the out crowd. So as a leader, you need to be really mindful of that and make sure you're not the person instigating that. Step out of your business, and if you have a manager running it, there shouldn't be an it and an in and an out crowd. It should be really fair. Everybody gets treated the same. You will have people that will be the voice in your ear. You will have people that you trust, people that have been with you for a long time, people whose opinion matters to you, but please make sure that it's fair for everybody. And things like company handbooks allow for that to happen. Also in there, you should have EDMI policies, you should have inclusion policies, you should have GDPR policies. So gross misconduct, another one for us is obviously client data. This should be in every business needs a company policy on GDPR anyway, but ours is gross misconduct. So if a therapist uses a client data for any other purpose than the booking that they have, then it is gross misconduct, which means instant dismissal. So that means no notice. Your gross misconduct has to be watertight, or your gross misconduct policy and your disciplinary policy. So all of that in your company handbook. If you are looking to scale or franchise, company handbooks are really, really, really important, because you're then allowing other people to use your brand, or other people to manage your locations. They all have to follow the same policy and same procedure. And also, if you have managers running your business and they're not following the company handbook, then guess what? Gross misconduct. You can terminate them. Again, terminate, I hate that word. You can then go down a disciplinary procedure as well. I hope that helps, but please have a company handbook. Just start working on it. It's a beast of a document, it can be, but also your team need to know exactly where they stand and what the expectations are of them, and it stops any grey areas. Hope that helps.